So it's our last day on the road today, and I wanted to redo a video we did last time we travelled, which is where we store everything while we're travelling. This is more for our reference and benefit than anybody else's, so if we happen to go away again, well, you know where we put things, but you might be interested to know where we put everything. So come and take a look. And this is, you've probably seen bits and pieces inside the van before anyway. So here's generally what we live in. Our bed at this end, obviously 5-person seating area down there, kitchen area here, boys sleep down there, Matt's still in bed, and Beck sleeps up there, and toilet and shower in there. So if we spin around, going through things, this cupboard, the thing we like about this van is it's got lots of overhead cupboards, by the way. One reason we got this. So we store all sorts of things in here, like head torches, spare batteries. Actually, batteries go on this one here. There's sticky tape, staplers, stationery, various bits and pieces like that go in there. Toiletries bags in there. Our bath towels in there. This is kind of a bits and pieces cupboard. Got my shaver there, the manual for the caravan, the light that attaches onto this bed, things like that. I think there's anything of interest up there. Might be first aid kit around the corner, I'm not sure.
Some of my bits and pieces, hair curler and whatever.
There we go, yep. First aid stuff. So we've got two of these containers that have got Panadols and antiseptic and stuff like that, band-aids and stuff in there, and a computer kind of sit in the middle. Then all of our plates and cups go in here. We've got 5 of them stacked up there. Big plates, small plates and bowls, and then our coffee mugs and the 5 cups we use for drinking, cold drinks, juice and stuff out of, and serviettes in the middle. So then coming to here, the microwave, we use it as a bread storage container while we're away. We can use this on the inverter, which is really good, but which we couldn't do with our last van. But yeah, that's just a bread storage cupboard. All power points and stuff under here, which is full of phone charging, device charging cables, which are getting more and more full as the months go by. Switch for the inverter, that's just give us 240 volt power while we're not plugged into 240 volt power. Chopping boards, which sit around here, they tend to find their way to the floor when we're travelling. And obviously the kitchen cooking area there. Hot drink things are over here. Tea bags and jarrett and hairspray for spraying your hair and stuff like that. Not sure why we've got fireworks sitting up here. Anyway, maybe those ones have already been discharged. So then spinning around here, we have got this curtain. Actually, this is something that we put on just to provide a bit of privacy. So we have that closed while the kids are asleep, just to stop light getting through for them. Also means that somewhere over here you can get changed. So you can get changed in the toilet, but if you have this down, it just gives you a lot more area to get changed. So we just put these hooks on there. Mim sewed up this curtain with a little cutout down here, so the heat from the diesel heater doesn't hook the edge of the towel, and that just sits there nicely. So that we have that down at night or when someone's getting changed, and during the day that comes up, or if necessary, you can just unhook.
Yeah, it's just a double sheet that I cut down a bit.
Alright, okay. And unfortunately it started to tear around the buttonholes, so we just sort of put sticky tape on there just to keep
gaffer tape, yeah.
Gaffer tape, yeah.
Strong stuff.
It's good stuff, yes. Actually, we might just get this out of the way for now while we're doing this. Right, toilet and shower. Not an awful lot to see here. It's a toilet and shower, but does the job. Little vent at the top, light there, shower sort of stuff is all there. Shower head holder. It's all pretty compact, which things need to be. And down this end, can you roll over a bit, Matt? Because I need to get in here. So this is the boys' bed. I don't know how much room there is here, but while Matt's asleep, well, he's going to have to not be too much asleep because I've got a fan down this end, which goes across my head, which we put in, and then under here. Sorry, mate. Roll that out the way. We've got this tunnel boot here, which has got all sorts of stuff stored in it. I'm not going to unpack all of that, but this is sort of stuff that we don't use very often. When we buy things in bulk, like vitamin C's or coffee bags or things like that, we'll tend to buy them in here. Got heaps of tea bags stored on there. There's a sleeping bag there in case somebody was sick or whatever and we needed that. Thankfully we've not needed that. Yeah, there's just so many bits and pieces. Souvenirs we've collected along the way are all sort of down here. Yeah, I don't even know what else, but it's just an accumulation of bits and pieces we don't use very often because it's obviously a little bit difficult to get to.
Things we want to take back.
Yeah, that's right. So that's what we call the back tunnel. So thank you, Matt. We can get back to sleep. I'll swap with Mim now. So let's move around. I was pausing that there.
Yeah, she was just like before this bit. Coming over here, we have the fridge. This is a bit of a challenge sometimes. It's a bit of a Jenga challenge when it comes to doing the food shop and getting everything in. I can normally get about a week's worth of food, of dry and perishables. It's a bit of a challenge trying to get everything in, but I can normally do it. We're coming to the end of our trip, so there's not loads in there at the moment, but normally it's a bit of a stack. Fresh vegetables and fruits is probably only a couple of days worth, or like we have some of the fruit left over in those that we need to eat. Down here, you can talk about that one.
Yeah, that's just the diesel heater, so we can't use that cupboard for anything. That was already in there when we got it, but it's probably not a bad spot for it. Other van, we had all our laundry cleaning stuff in there, but we've had to find somewhere else for it this time.
And there's the outlets on either side.
So hot air comes out here.
Which have to make sure nothing's in the way.
And down there. Yep.
Okay. And this is our jam-packed full wardrobe.
Shouldn't be quite that full, is it? Should it be?
No, but yeah, that's got wedding stuff as well as all our bits and pieces.
And
for
diesel heater.
out. Diesel heater.
Control panels is in there so it doesn't give off too much light.
Yeah, and then I've got the toaster and the kettle in there, a shovel if we need it, peg bag and washing line for outside. That's always very handy.
Do we have an extension cord in there, or is that, or is it just a power board? Oh, it's just a power board, is it?
It's a power board, and I think the deflappers that we have. I don't think we use this time.
Yeah. No, we didn't actually.
Do you want to do?
Oh, this
do
you
you
go.
want to do any more?
Oh, that's right. I'll do a bit in a minute. You go.
Okay. This is where we store our Bibles and games and laptops normally, and Greg and my shoes are in here. It looks like there's some gems and rocks and bits and pieces down there. But yeah, jam packed. We try to
The laptop's usually in there as well.
jam as much stuff as we can in there.
And then we've got lights, few lights here. I put these reading lights in, which I had on our other van, which we really like those, so they've been pretty helpful as well to have those when we're having tea or doing the readings. Lights at this end, we've got obviously 3 lots of overhead lights. They're all controlled from this main switch, but you can switch those on and off individually. There's other stuff that's probably not so interesting, like the stuff down here. Water tanks, that sort of shows you how much water level, what the level is in the water tanks. Hot water service, one of the battery monitors. I've got another battery monitor up over here. This is sort of not really where we store things, it's more about how the van works. But that's that. Oh, we didn't do this drawer down here. This is a book drawer. So books and keys and other bits and pieces, we keep that down there. In terms of other storage, I don't think there's probably anything else I've got to say.
We do have a tunnel under our bed. That's sometimes a bit hard to get to.
Yeah, so from the outside,
we just have a couple of tubs of winter clothes in there.
Maybe I'll just show this. So we don't have to do this very often, because most of the time you can get to this from the outside. But if you were to get from the inside, so in the middle you can see this is all the ramps and stuff that we access from that little door down there. Let's put that back on. So this sort of stuff is what we use when we're setting the side up. On this side here, you can get to this from the outside. There's another external door there. But these are all our winter clothes. So if we ever have to get these out, jackets or whatever, winter pajamas, we just have to lift this up and pull the tubs out. It's a bit of a, not too hard to get it out, but do it like that. And obviously you can see whatever else is in there. Put them in, yeah. So just various tools, the jack handle, torque wrench for tightening the wheel nuts, power cables and stuff like that. So that can all go down there. But yeah, that's probably, is that all we need to talk about from inside, do you think?
I think so.
Oh, unless it depends how far we go. Yeah, we'll just quickly do this. This is again, this is not storage, this is more how a caravan works, but that's that box drawer. It's all the batteries down there, inverter, there's the chargers all down there, solar powered, solar charge on the DC to DC chargers, charge batteries in the vehicle. That's not really storage though. Cables of all sorts get dumped here. Lovely. And then behind here, which we don't use this very often, but it's helpful to have. We just sort of use this for bulk food storage. So you see we've got, when up at Bundaberg, we've got a couple of containers of Bundaberg drinks, excess food that we can't store in the cupboards, which we don't need, a bit like the back tunnel really, but a little bit harder to get to. So those things live there as well. Lots of little spots that you can store bits and pieces. Like you've got cupboard space obviously to be able to put things in, but it's helpful having these other little nooks and crannies that are not so accessible, but it just means you've got space you can put extra things. A lot of stuff just gets dumped on any horizontal surface that's available, so that usually gets dumped with a fair bit of stuff when we're set up. So outside then, I'll show you what we've got outside. What I'll do first, I'll just take this out so we can get to the toolbox at the front. So that just lifts out, and we'll do the same at the back in a minute. Moving outside. Obviously we've got the lights which we haven't needed to use, and there's lights on the awning as well that you probably don't really notice, but they're on there as well. So we usually have those on when we're doing things at night time. Picnic table that you can fold down. You know, not so much about the outside of the van, where we store things. This is that tunnel bit that I was talking about from the inside. So this is where we were looking. This is basically the underside of that tunnel boot from the inside, above our bed or below our bed. So that's where we keep things when we set up. On the front we've got a toolbox, gas bottles and a jerry can. So what we typically need to do, actually we might just pause it, sorry. Under that first, I'll explain why in a minute. So we've got a toolbox along the back, and so a gas bottle there, which when we're cooking outside, toolbox, which I'll show you what's in there in a second, and a couple of jerry cans. So it's a little bit of a pain to get to these things. So usually we would do this before we actually set the beds up. If there's anything I need to get out of the beds, I'd usually do this before we set them up. But it's not too difficult if you have to. So you can actually just pause it. Okay, so let's unlock that. So lift the bed up, and then inside the toolbox, we've got this bit of wood, which I'll sit on there and lower onto that black bobble sort of thing. That then takes the weight of the back of the bed, and then I can get into the toolbox. And so this has got all my tools in it. Reciprocating saw, I won't get them all out. Angle grinder, but you see my toolbox has got more screwdrivers and spanners in it. Soldering iron, multimeter and stuff is all down here. There's a cordless drill, and then below the cordless drill, at least you have to move that out of the way. Below the cordless drill, that's the my spanner set. So I just might get that out because it's a little bit squeezed. Trying to put it all, even fit that all back in. That's pretty tight. Yeah, so that's for use. I don't use that all that often. I'll need that from the front, so I'll fill that out. Obviously, jerry can holders. I have a infrared thermometer, so checking the brakes as well. So I'll take that back down and go around to the front. So same thing inside. I've already taken that pole out. This all happened before. I probably don't actually have to take this privacy screen off, do I?
Possibly not.
To lift the bed up. Maybe not. So I lift that up. Now I haven't actually, to be honest, I haven't used this very often at the front. I'm now going to, but I did work out a spot for it. Yeah, I think it's on there, on the front of that gas bottle. Yeah, so that will sit there, but I haven't actually done that all that often. But
That's probably why you took it out the way.
Yeah, that's a bit easier to see what's going on. In here we've got water hoses. Yeah, let's tuck that out the way. Yeah. It really doesn't move, does it?
No.
There we go. There are water hoses in there. Dry bag if we're hiking through a river. There's goggles, snorkels, inflatable tube, flippers. Matt's got some of his workout bits and pieces there. There's fishing stuff down the back, jerry can, 10 litre jerry can, which we sort of keep as a backup supply. And then at this end I've got all my glues and fluids, so grease gun for the suspension, all the adhesives are down here, paints, acetone, polish, grease, coolant, car wash liquid, graphite, all those sort of cleaning and maintenance sort of fluids that I use. Yeah. And behind there I've then got this, which is always pretty useful, damp coarse foam. We just use it if you happen to need a bit of protection from bumping something on something else. And
Jude's fishing.
is there something down below there?
I don't know.
There is something. Well, this is gonna be a bit of an adventure because I don't even know what's down here. Something to put down here which I've never used. Oh, a spare suspension bits and pieces. Yeah. So these are nuts and bolts for the leaf springs if you ever have to replace the leaf springs. Speaking of which, I'll come back to that in a minute. We didn't talk about that, so something I forgot to mention. Behind there, if we ever need it, we've got 2 sets of leaf springs mounted onto that back tray. So this is something which you probably know I built before we left, and I made space for those leaf springs to be mounted there. We've had to use it once already, but not usually, thankfully. But that's where we keep the spare bits and pieces if we ever need to, and of course the spare wheels down there as well.
Yeah, spare wheels underneath there. Just while he's packing up that, the table outside here, the grey one, we leave flat like that, and that gets stored in this little gap here once the bed's all packed up.
Kristen made this frame, I don't know how it was, but there was a real expert metal worker. You can see from all the dodgy welding. But that's worked pretty well, having those 2 gas bottles there, and we can flick from one to the other when they run out. This is the other side of the tunnel boot. So where we see the jacks and the extension power hoses, power cords and stuff. This is really useful. I didn't talk about this. This is like just a whole lot of mechanical bits and pieces I keep in here. Wire brushes, vernier calipers, hole saws, pop rivet guns, pop rivets, tape measures, all sorts of bits and pieces like that haven't actually needed all that much. A spare Anderson plug down there.
But you're better off having them, otherwise you spend
yeah,
quite a bit of time trying to find them at remote shops which don't hold them. So
yeah,
it's better to have them than not.
Went down to Drake's and got this box that's just the right size, reinforced it with a heap of tape, and that keeps it all together. So you can just pull it out the way rather than having lots of bits and pieces that are all thrown in there and having to climb over them. So that's all. We've got our own bottle jack as well, which works better than the scissor jack that they came with. Water fill point there, hot water service there. We don't, obviously that's where we fill the water up. Don't need to use hot water service much from the outside. It's operated by gas from the inside. Toilet cassette is in there, so when that gets filled up, that's where you empty it. This is just where all the wastewater comes out, so we have a bucket there to collect that. And I put this external shower point on before we left. Our other van came with one, this one didn't. So that's just usually coming back from the beach. We use this quite a bit at Fraser Island actually. When you come back from the beach and you're sandy, you can just put a mat down here, which we've got on the other side. Just turn that on and give yourself a bit of a shower. That can then mount onto there as well if you want to. And so if you're a midget, then it's good. If you're a midget and you want to have a shower, you can stand down there. If you're any taller than about 2 feet, then it's a bit short, but you can hold it there and put it up here or something like that. So we think of everybody with that. We think of everybody with that, man. So that's been probably haven't used it. The other good thing actually about this also is that the caravan's got 2 water tanks for the taps inside. For drinking and stuff like that. The toilet has got its own flush tank, so if you come around here, when you flush the toilet, it's got its own little tank inside for flushing water. If that happens to run out, but we've still got water in the water tanks, then we're able to use the shower to fill up the flush tank. So that's actually been really useful. So we can just, it's pretty slow, but it means if you're out of flushing water and you've still got water in the main tanks, you can still get a bit of water in there without having to fill up containers and bring them out, and fill it up manually one by one. So that's been wasn't something I thought of at the time I put that in, but that's been a very useful side effect of how it's been all set up. I don't think there's much else, is there?
I think we've covered all of it at the moment.
We do have those mats.
Look at the view though.
Yeah, we normally have it. We sometimes have this table set. I think we're cooking outside. We sometimes have this table set up. We haven't bothered to start because we're only here for one night, or last night. The stove that was inside, we usually have it sitting on here with the gas bottle. So we take this. So this gas bottle would usually come out. Take that out. And that will then slide out. We set that down there. We've just got that there to stop dirt getting into the outlet while we're driving along. So that's helpful. So that's how we'd probably usually have it set up if we're going to be somewhere for a couple of days and we're going to be doing some cooking outside. Obviously this time we haven't got it set up like that, but we do have these mats which are really useful. These are great when you're away because they can just we put those inside under the bed. I'm sorry, under the kitchen table while we're travelling, and we just put a few of them on the ground to just keep the ground clean or keep your feet clean from sand or dirt or whatever's on the ground. And if we're having a shower from the outside shower point, we used to put two of those down there to stop you getting mud on your feet. I think the rest of the stuff is just basically your caravan stuff, the awning and the doors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's everything. I hope Greg and Mim, you find that interesting next time you come to pack the van, so you know where to put things, and if anybody else is interested, then that's where we put things and store things when we're travelling for however long we go away for. Last things last.
No, I just remembered. I bought this collapsible box and I put a bin bag in it for dirty dishes when we're travelling, because often I would store them in the sink and they would bounce around and clanger. Not to say that they don't clang against each other in here, it just means we can wash our hands when we come to stop somewhere in the sink, and it's like all our cups and bowls and spoons are not just taking up room in the sink.